How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how to make Piece of My Soul by Different. It's his new track that's just dropped, and this is what our remake sounds like. So yeah, this is like the 5th track I've made from Different. You guys seem to love it when I remake Different's tracks, so I thought let's do his latest one because it's a fucking banger. He seems to follow a very similar pattern with a few of his tracks where it's sort of like an organ in the build and then a really heavy speed garage drop. So let's firstly get into that drop and see how he's done it. We're going to start firstly with the bass. Great, so let's have a look at the MIDI first. So we're in the key of D minor and we start on the root note of D, then we go up, and obviously he likes to keep it nice and rhythmic, so he doesn't go just like long like this. He likes to keep it nice and choppy, which I really do think sort of gives it more energy. He also loves obviously going up and down in the scale like this. And it's such a short progression, it's only 2 bars. Because it's got so much movement in it, it obviously keeps it catchy. So let's now have a look at how the bass was made. It's actually a preset from my Speed Garage Volume 2 pack. This is probably my most popular Speed Garage pack. I use it all the time. It's just got like over 50, I think, different Speed Garage basses. And we've got warps, we've got plucks, we've got leads. It's literally got everything you need to make an insane Speed Garage. All of my last sort of 30 videos are basically covering the different sounds and stuff from this pack. Basically built off loads of different remakes, which I've done of all the top sort of Speed Garage producers. So you've got like Interplanetary Criminal, and here's one with like Ketama. You've got Soul Mass Transit System, you've got Notion, basically all the big hitters in Speed Garage in the last year. So this is the Reese 101 preset, but now I'm also going to show you how to make it from scratch. Great, so let's initiate the preset, turn on oscillator A and B, and let's go to analog, basic shapes, saw wave, analog, basic shapes, saw wave, pitch it down by 2 octaves that is, and let's fine tune it, plus 31, minus 31, like this. We're halfway there. Let's turn this filter on. Let's go MG low 24, A, B, bring up the drive, bring up the fat a little bit, bring this cutoff down, put it on notes mode. Sounding very fat already, but we want to add some resonance. So let's bring that resonance down and let's go to this macro and drag it on, put it to about 86, 84. Then we can bring this up. That filter down. You can also bring up that macro to bring up the resonance. That sounds about right to me. Even bring off maybe more cutoff. Great, and lastly we're going to add a little bit of effect. So I'm going to bring the hyper down and let's bring up this dimension. Makes it a little bit wider. You can obviously play around with this filter. Obviously the main sound is coming from here, and then we're using this filter to sculpt it. So around that sounds good to me. Now we've obviously got that, let's now move on to the pre-drop. So this is just an organ bass. This is a preset from that same pattern. Essentially it's just a sample of the M1 organ. Different seems to use the organ all the time to sort of build a nice rhythm, and it's sort of everyone's favorite sound. It's like one of the most iconic sounds ever, if not the most, in dance music. So I feel like when everyone hears a track that's got an organ in it, everyone's initially their ear switches on. They're like, oh, this is something I recognize and it's something I like. Obviously, if you haven't got this pack, then you could use the organ M1. So if you go Korg, obviously you need this preset as well, also this synth, but it's this M1, and you go to browser, prog, organ, organ 2, solo, bring it up, put the level to, sorry, the pan to 0, bring the effects down. You could keep some of the effects on. I always like to go to the insert as well, or sorry, not the insert, I go to Master Effects, Exciter, bang that up, and it's going to sound. See, it's got a filter on it, so let's find where that is. It's got a lot of reverb, so let's just take some of that off. Sample hole, here you go. best to use the Ableton one rather than the stock. There you go, sounded better. And yeah, if we look at the MIDI for this, it's completely different, obviously, to this MIDI. It's the same notes, I think, dB. Same notes, but obviously different rhythm. It sounds quite simple, but it's nice and like sort of aggressive. I mean, if that's the notes, if you want to obviously have a look, copy that and then feel free. Cool, and that is the bass. There's not really any effects on that. If you just go to the actual bass group, I have got some effects on it, together with the kick. This is really fat kick, and then I've added these effects on. So we've got this glue, which is the same as the glue compressor, which comes with Ableton. I always bang on about this, but it's exactly the same, but I just prefer the interface. Like, that's the same thing as that, but this is basically for people who've got Logic, etc, etc. I've just used the full parallel preset without it, with it. Brings it to the front of the mix a bit more, and you want the kick and the bass to be like right in the front of the mix, right? So this helps sort of bring it forward. I've got this drum bus, really fatten it up. I've got this compressor ticked on, so it's also compressing it, and I've just got this bass mono thing, so making sure all the bass below 200 hertz is actually mono. Otherwise it's going to cause sort of like phasing issues, especially if you're using like a Reese bass, which is naturally like quite wide. This sort of helps to sort of dial that in and keep the low end in mono. Other effects, I've got this side chain on the bass. Side chain to the kick, allows the kick to punch through. I've also got this ozone imager. I've basically got anything below 220 in complete mono. And then I've started to make this wider in the mix, so this displays it basically visually. So if we solo that, it's going to be right down the center. And if we solo this, it's going wide because I pushed this up here. Same with this, it's all wider. Yeah, it just basically helps us fill out the sort of stereo field. Like speed gauge as a whole, the genre's quite, I guess, down the middle. There's not a lot of like lead wide synths and stuff like that, apart from obviously the vocal. So yeah, this helps to sort of fill out the sort of spectral range a little bit. Great, let's now move on to the drums. So yeah, pretty simple. I've just used 2 speed gauge loops. So the kick and the drums are from my speed gauge volume 2 and volume 3 drums packs. So each speed gauge pack has tons of loops, one shots and effects, and it just makes it really easy to drag and drop these loops into your project and literally make a speed gauge track within like 10 minutes. This first loop, this is from the speed gauge 2. Nice and skippy. And then we've got this second one. I mean, that second one is obviously not as loud in the mix. That's that on its own. And I thought, fuck it, I'll layer another one. Because speed gauge tracks are very simple. It's essentially just the drums and the bass. That's like the whole track. So you've sort of got to pad those out. That's why I've gone for 2 layers. And I've gone for obviously lots of like effects or like compression and stuff to make the bass more louder. I've essentially just chucked 2 loops together. You'd also go through the packs. So yeah, look, drum loops, you've got like tops. Yeah, so that's speed gauge 3, and then this is speed gauge 2. And then you've also got ones with the full loop. And yeah, you just literally drag them in like this. That's all you do. The key to sort of getting the right drum loop for the bass, I normally have the bass down first, is to just drag lows in. So this is literally what I do. I drag lows in like this, but then I literally test which ones work best. I just test what one works best with the bass. So you literally go through, there's like 15 here, there's 15 other ones. You just sample them all through, and then I ended up with these 2. Again, I've got this glue drums full parallel. I just love that preset. It really helps sort of bring everything forward in the mix. In terms of the build, we've got this snare. So the key to a good snare build, in my opinion, is you bang the sustain down and then you get the decay and you ease it in. So, and then you build it up like that using automation. If we have a look at the MIDI itself, it's just going the velocities down and up. Sort of helps create like a more of a drum build. It gets more airy. As the decay comes out, you can hear at the end, it's kind of airy. And I've also got this reverb. We then have this crash. for every drop, you need to have a crash. I mean, house maybe not, but if it's speed garage, if it's like trance, you have to have the crash. It just really helps build the interest towards the drop. Like without it, you don't really know it's gonna drop, but when you hear that sound, you know it's gonna drop. And then we've got this little hat, just like a built-in hat, and it's got an auto filter. So the high frequencies have been sort of brought in. And then lastly, we've got this riser. In terms of the vocal, it's giving splice vocal, to be honest. I obviously don't know if it's 100% splice. I mean, it's nice vocal. Sounds like it's been pitched down. But yeah, it might be a splice vocal, I'm not too sure. But this, special request, so it's from this Double 99 Rip Groove, which I'm sure you've heard. So yeah, I mean, that's what that... Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. Sorry, I've not filmed a video for a while, so I was probably rambling a bit. Yeah, I will see you next time. I will see you next week. Cheers.